Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's been a little while since I used that one. Doing like just a little video today. It's been a little while since I made some Legends of Runeterra content. I've been slacking on finishing that gauntlet run up. Editing is hard, okay? Uh, but it's reveal season, and I haven't exactly gotten my words out on it, so I wanted to make a quick recorded video. Alawi came out a few minutes ago, and I just wanted to go through the reveals, like all of them, not just today's with Alawi, but like all the reveals. And I just wanted to go through and give my strictly Diamond 4 opinion on them. And it'll just be like an easy video to just pump out for a Tuesday. So let's jump right into it. I just said it. Alawi just came out. I mean, like, look at her. She's here. What do we got? So Alawi, we have a 4-mana, 1/6, Overwhelm, spawn tentacles. That's her whole mechanic is spawn. I'm sure if you guys are into Legends, you've seen like crap about that, but it's just been a little up in the air on how it works. But basically, spawns a tentacle, and then unless there is a tentacle, in which case it buffs that tentacle. So like here, Alawi says spawn 1, so that's I spawn a tentacle, right? Unless you have a tentacle already, and then I give that tentacle +1/+1. So yeah. So with that in mind, like, she's good. Her level up seems a bit iffy, specifically because I've seen. Let me open the card art here. Can I not click? Okay. I was gonna say this is new tab, but specifically because she's seen, I think it might be a little hard to get off, especially since she's a 1/6. So like, granted, she like gains power based on like what your tentacle is at, but like, let's be real. Targon is big right now. She's just gonna get hushed, do nothing, right? Or 6 health is a lot, because Bilgewater doesn't have a lot of like protection going on. So 6 health is like really good, but like, Thermo exists. It's still within range of like. Well, actually, it is out of range of the Senna spell that is run in the 6-cost decks. But it takes like two shock blasts to deal with her. And the other thing is like, tentacles don't have healing. I'll get to this later in the package. But tentacles don't have like a lot of healing. So I feel like it'll probably actually be kind of easier to deal with Alawi than might initially be looked at. Why are there two copies of her? What's up with that? Huh? Okay. Website going crazy. But yeah, then if you do manage to get Alawi leveled up, the game's over. Basically, it's like a Pike effect, right? Where if you successfully get that 15 damage, just like Pike, the game's over, right? Like, because she increases all spawn values. She still has the attack spawn, right? So that becomes spawn 2 rather than spawn 1, even though it says spawn 1. Because of this text, that's spawn 2. and then fully heal your strongest tentacle, and I gain its stats. So this is the only way that tentacles can heal. Which, like I was saying, is like there's not a lot of healing or anything. So this is the only way that like your tentacles are actually going to be able to like do something. And like I don't know, like she seems like really cool, but chances are you know, she's a pike card where she's a 4-mana champion who's going to be kind of hard to get off, but if you do get her off, then she'll win you the game, right? And that's kind of like the thing. Again, she still suffers from being a 2/7, so she's not gonna like she can just get hushed, and if you silence her before she attacks, then like you know that's it. She's done. It does nothing. It's an attacking 2/7. It might as well be the thing the goat dude who heals you, right? Or Soraka. So it's like, yeah. I mean, I can see where it's going. But it's maybe a little rough to get off the ground. Then we have Tentacle Smash. This is Alawi's champion spell. Spawn 3, and then your strongest tentacle and an enemy strike each other. So normally speaking, if you played this with no tentacles, it's I make a 3/3 essentially. And then that 3/3 hits something, which honestly that's pretty garbage. But if you have a tentacle, it's give it +3/+3 and then strike something, which is actually kind of a cool mechanic. I like the idea of give something plus stats and then attack, right? Or strike rather. Like I think Winds of War is probably the most interesting strike card that they printed with Formidable, right? Because that's like fully heal and then they strike each other. Like I think that's a really cool card. So likewise, I think this is a really cool card. But again, knowing that the tentacles can't heal, it feels like it's gonna be really hard to keep the tentacle alive. Because like Alawi levels up by dealing 15 damage with your tentacles. While she's on board, mind you. And then this is like, okay, so this is like making sure your tentacles can get damage off. But if they're playing Fated, right? And you're like, I have a 2/2 tentacle, and I'm gonna play this card on his 2/3 dragon that he just played, right? And you go and you play this card, and your 2/2 tentacle becomes a 5/5 tentacle, and you're like, haha, your 2/3 dragon stands no chance. And for the same amount of mana, right? 4 mana, your opponent plays 2 sharp sights. And now your tentacle's dead. And they still have a dragon. Granted, that dragon has 2 health, but they still have a dragon. So like you know? I don't know. It's weird. But then we have Eye of Nagaka Boros, which I think is easily the best card that they've revealed so far. Easily. Because it's a draw 2 card, right? 5 mana, so similar to the, I think it's the Bandle City one before it got nerfed, because I think they nerfed that to 6 mana now. But, 5 mana draw 2, but it also spawns 2, and it's at burst speed. So this is a good way to try to keep your tentacles alive, because you'll have, the ability to give your tentacle +2/+2 at burst speed, or if you don't have one, hey, it's a 2/2 body, which is why I think this card is going to see play outside of, this particular deck, because it's a draw 2 card, right? Like, you could play this with TF, and you get a 2/2 body, and you get to draw 2. That's pretty cracked. And it's 5 mana, so it's basically like it's 1 more mana that you're paying over something like salvage, right? But here you don't have to toss 2, which is not, you know, helpful in most archetypes. But like you get a 2/2 body for it, and that's like really good. So this card is definitely like the best card in this set. All right. So next we have what's, I guess, supposed to be like the high-end finisher follower of this deck. This is Nagaka Boros itself, which also has some fantastic card art. They're doing my Sea Monster Shadow Isles Ghoul ship dirty though. Like in all the Alawi art, this thing's just getting like hunted down by her, essentially. Like I think the storyline is that killed the Jaw Hunters or whatever in its card art, right? And that tips like the Buru off to its location. And then so then like Alawi and shows up and does this to it, essentially. Again, this has 2 of itself, weirdly. Sure. But Nagaka Boros, fearsome. That's a bad keyword for an 8-drop, but sure. So it says round start, spawn 2. So that's like, it's basically like the think of like the Viego minion, where at the round start it spawns a mist. This is like the same thing as round start, it buffs your tentacle, right? So like that seems okay, except, you know, that card's 7 mana and spawns like multiples. This card's 8 mana. Seems a little like it might be hard to get off, but like you run it with the same package, it'd probably be okay. I've been playing a bit of San Diego in my free time because I got pissed off at losing every other deck. And it's been up and down, honestly. The ups have felt really stompy. The downs have been like, why can't I draw anything? So, But yeah, this is like it's a 5/8, which on its own is like whatever. But it also says if your strongest tentacle has 12 plus power, then create a tantrum in hand. And what the tantrum does, no, not that. The tantrum starts a free attack, like Nagaka Boros itself starts a free attack with 4 Nagaka Boros tentacles, which are these ephemeral lads, which steals the stats and keywords of your tentacle and attacks with it, essentially. So, you know, keep in mind, like, again, you only get this if your tentacle has 12 plus power. So this is gonna be like a 12 plus, like 4 12 plus power attackers, like slapping you on the board. So if that goes off, again, that's another way that this deck is just kind of gonna like win the game. But getting there, you know, it's like it's an 8 mana card, spawns 2 every round. Like if they had just like killed your tentacle on turn 7, right? That's still it's another 6 turns of you keeping Nagaka Boros alive to like spawn up your tentacle, right? Obviously, it doesn't really work out that way if you have other spawn cards, of course. But you know, like it's just kind of iffy. The full tentacle art is just this, or is it? Yeah, because it's not gonna. Oh yeah, okay. So the tentacle art is just from this. It's just a different part of this. It's like this is the Nagaka Boros card art here in the middle, and then this over here is the Nagaka Boros' tentacle card art. That's kind of funny. I do like that. But yeah, so it's definitely like if you can get it off, it's gonna be a great finisher. But man, getting it off, you know. So that's that. here we have the regular tentacles, which is the tentacles. Seems like it's fighting the black mist here. Pretty normal. It's it's a 1 mana 1/1. All the spawn cards increase its stats. I don't think there's really much more to say about that. Buru Leader. A 1-cost ally starts a free attack. This is an interesting one. Because it's in Bilgewater, and Bilgewater already has like the 1-cost card supports with like the monkeys and the plunder unit that increases the 1-cost's attack and stuff like that. So I think this is actually going to see play outside of the Tentacle deck. But this is another card where it's going to be like, yeah, you can use this guy to make your Tentacle attack like at play speed, because it's a free attack. And he's just going to send it at them, basically, which is good if you have like a Lowy on board and you're looking to get damage off your Tentacle, right? But bad if your Tentacle's at low health. So yeah, definitely, it's got its downsides. But yeah, I definitely think he'll see play outside of the Tentacle deck. For sure. Why is this card not loaded in? What is that? That's weird. Watchful Idol. So this isn't a mobile, like, it's basically a 1-mana monkey idol, where, like, monkey idol is 3 mana, it spawns a monkey every round. This is 1 mana, same thing, spawns a tentacle every round, right? The difference being, is I think this is actually more useful, for, like, 2 reasons. One, it's 1 mana, so you can play it, get your 1 mana unit out on turn 2, and start like stacking your Tentacle really early. Like this is kind of like, if you don't have this card in your mulligan, you probably lost kind of a card, right? But yeah, like there's not really much else to say about it. It's like I said, it's the same as like the monkey idol, so it opens the possibility for Alawi to be played with like stances with Udyr, right? And remember, Nagaka Boros' tentacles gain the keywords of the tentacles, so you can also, like, if you're running like Udyr stances or troll gifts or whatever with Freljord, like, you can then use, like, you can put like a regeneration or overwhelm or whatever on your tentacles, and it'll get transferred over and stuff, like, so it has potential to be like, for that to be like your added spice, and that's probably a deck that I am going to make a video on when the patch goes live. I'm probably going to make like an Alawi Udyr kind of deck. That sounds pretty fun. So keep an eye out for that. Next we have Buru Lookout. 5 mana 4/3. Not great stats, but when I'm summoned, spawn 3. So even if you're raw playing it, you don't have any tentacles, it's 5 mana for a 4/3 and a 3/3. That's pretty good. I think an easy card to compare it to is probably the Celestial card that spawns 6 mana, spawns 2 4/3s. The difference there is one of them's elusive and one of them has lifesteal, and obviously the 1 attack on the second spawn. So it's comparable. It doesn't have, like, it's 1 mana less, and it's not a Celestial card. Celestial cards are, traditionally a little bit stronger because you have to like generate them stuff, and also because Targon's bullshit. But every region past Bilgewater has been bullshit. But whatever. So yeah, this is just like a good card. If you're running like the Tentacle deck, you're running this card, like, guaranteed. I don't think there's much more to say about it. You probably could run it outside of the Tentacle deck, right? Because, like, again, it is 5 mana for a 4/3 and a 3/3. Like, that's decent blockers. It's decent, like, even on attack, right? So you could probably run it. But is it ever going to be better than you know, a different 5-drop that you could have, you know? Maybe. But it's definitely kind of a unique one for, like, filling the board. So obviously, like, I don't think you're gonna run it in, like, Pirates, because at Pirates, like, turn 5, you want to, like, drop Gangplank, or you want to be, like, hit, like, if you're running, like, Scouts, you want to be, you know, leveling up your Misfortune or whatever. So it's not quite what you're looking for in, like, an aggro Bilgewater deck, but, you know, it's not a bad card. Like, just generally speaking, it might open Bilgewater up to, like, some more options, maybe. We'll see. I can't predict a whole lot of the what the meta and stuff is going to be like, because, hey, remember, I'm a Diamond player, okay? Let's calm down on that kind of thing, right? The Sea's Voice. Spawn 1, give your Tentacle Overwhelm. I mean, that's just a good card. The Overwhelm only lasts the 1 round, so, like, it's okay. Temporary keywords are kind of interesting. I think they started doing that, actually, like, last set with, like, Eula. Actually, there have been, like, Ionians, like, give me Elusive for a round since, like, the Foundation, so I guess it's just kind of, like, they've been expanding them recently. But yeah, this is a pretty good card. It's 3 mana 3/3, so, like, it matches things like the Viego guy, or you know, like the Shuriman 3/3 that summons the landmark when it dies. Like, you know, it's 3 mana 3/3, pretty generic stat line. But yeah, it on attack it spawns and gives Overwhelm, which is just solid. Like, it's on attack too, it's not on play. So, like, if you can protect this unit, you can do it multiple times. You have Overwhelm on your Tentacle more often. And if you were to, like, get, like, your Nagaka Boros, right, on turn 8, say, and then, well, actually, Nagaka Boros says it only gets that at round start, right? Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say, so you'd have to have Nagaka Boros on board already, and then at that point, well, like, why haven't you won the game? So I was gonna say you could use it, like, to give your Tentacle Overwhelm, and then when you play the Nagaka Boros spell, it gives all of Nagaka Boros' tentacles Overwhelm. But, you know, if you're at that point in the game, like, you're winning the game anyway. So, but it's a nice little card. Gives your Tentacle a little bit of stat boost, a little bit of Overwhelm. It's pretty good. But I don't think it's, like, exceptional. Anyway, Answered Prayer. Spawn 2, or spend 5 mana to spawn 4 instead. Frankly, this card's trash. You're gonna run it in the Tentacle deck because you don't have that many options in the Tentacle deck, right? But, like, this is trash. It like, 2 mana for 2/2 stats is bad. 5 mana for 4/4 stats is a little better, but it's still bad, right? Because, like, you like, think about it, like, Fury of the North originally was +4/+4 instead of +3/+4, and that was at 4 mana. Obviously, they nerfed it because it was strong, but, you know, like, similar thing here is that was a burst speed spell, and that was part of why, like, that was really strong. So here we're adding a mana on and making it slow speed. I don't know. I don't like it. Like I said, I think if you're playing Alawi, you're playing the Tentacle deck, I think you have to run it. I don't think there are enough spawn cards, like, necessarily that have been revealed yet where you could, like, reasonably take this out, right? But I don't think it's good. And I do not think that's a good card. So going back to the other cards, the ones that were revealed before this, but I haven't given my takes on them yet, so I'm just gonna go through it. Demaker. Play, recall a unit with less power than me. This is a weird card, because, like, it definitely plays into, like, the whole, like, Jin Yasuo combo that they kind of are trying to push, right? But it also kind of plays a little bit towards, you know, like, the hand or deck buff stuff, because at 3, we're calling a 3 attack unit, like, it's not that great. Obviously there's the spell that does the same thing, and it's like units with spell effects, like, you know, they're usually pretty okay, but I don't know, like, it's definitely a weird card for sure, and I don't know how useful it's necessarily going to be. But this is one of those ones where I'm like, I think time will tell. Because if there's going to be, like, a lot of stuff going around, like, Faded, right? Like, if you play this into Faded, that's not recalling anything, right? If you play this into like, Ionia, that's not recalling anything, right? Because Ionia is just going to, like, deny it or something. Or they'll recall their unit on their own, right? Like, it's definitely questionable. I like the concept of running it in the deck buff thing, because weirdly enough, I started working on a deck and hand buff deck, like, before they revealed some of these reveals, and some of these reveals support that deck, and it didn't turn out very good because I was playing it on, like, this patch, right? But with, like, some of these reveals, I definitely am going to want to revisit it. And there's another card down here that, you know, you'll see why. Next, Harbinger of Thralls. Is 2 mana. Summon a Frozen Thrall or advance your Frozen Thralls 1 round. This is cool. I don't think Thralls... I can't say that. I was going to say I don't think Thralls really needed that help. Because, like, they can, like, if they have, like, the 5 mana card and Lysandra and maybe, like, you know, a couple of the Shurima cards that advance landmarks, like, they can regularly get their Thralls off on turn 5, right? But, like, this is a good in-between card. It's just a good 2-drop for the archetype, right? Because if you, like, play the Thrall on 1, then you play this on 2, then Lysandra on 3, now you have 3 Thralls to work with. And then, like, you can, like, let this die as the blocker. You can block with Lysandra, and then you can, like, play, like, the 5 mana guy on turn 5, and, like, and having this guy be able to, like, advance Thralls 1 round also makes it so that it's not, like, a dead draw later if you already have your Thralls off. So, like, honestly, I think it's a good card. I never really played Thralls, but I also, like, never really disliked playing against them. I don't know if that's a weird take. Maybe it's because I played a lot of deep, so, like, you know, it just doesn't, like, I could always manage to you know, deal with the Thrall deck, but it's definitely an interesting addition. Next we have Kinkos Call. Summon a Keeper of the Masks now or at the next round start and draw 1. This is an interesting card. I think a lot of people kind of, like, you know, like, they kind of are like, this is a bad card, right? Because it's, you know, the Keeper of the Masks is a 2/3 that gives your board +1 attack. So it's like, well, that's not great. But I actually think it's not bad. Like, I think the problem with it is that it's slow speed. So if this was burst speed, right? Like, you know, it'd be just another like burst, like 4 mana draw card, and that'd be solid. And like, I get why they didn't want to do that, because burst speed summon a Keeper of the Masks could be really strong. So I get why they made it slow. And I don't think it's a bad card. Because like it gives you a unit. Like, yeah, it's a 2/3, but it also buffs your entire board. So like, if you have a board when you play it, like it's not bad. And you can choose to do it at the next round start. So if you're just like, if you're sitting on 4 mana and you've got like 1 ephemeral on board, so you don't have room for the unit, but you've got 5 other units. I don't know how you'd ever end up in that situation. But like you've got 5 other units. Your opponent has like 3 or something, right? And you're getting ready to open attack, but you're like 2 damage off lethal. You play this card. You go round start, and like, you know, rounds, like, the turn flips, your ephemeral dies, round start, you summon your guy, your entire board gets +1 attack, and you swing, right? So I don't know, like, I think people are underrating it a little bit. Like, I don't think it's gonna be like amazing. I don't think it's gonna be run in every Ionia deck. There are way better 4-cost spells to run, like Concussive Palm still exists, right? But I think it's at least a spell that's worth considering. If you're doing like a swarm archetype kind of a thing, for sure. Ah, here we go. Now this is the card, Protective Brood Father. Protective Brood Mother, if you'll recall, is the 7 mana 6/6 dragon from Demacia with Scout. Protective Brood Father, on the other hand, which actually I believe if I open it up, there it is. This is literally the Brood Mother art, right? She's on the nest. This guy was in the background the whole time. Dun dun dun. It was pretty funny. But yeah, like this is a cool card. Like 8 mana 7/7. Remember with the dragon, Herald of Dragon. That's it. Like you can reduce it to be a 7 mana 7/7. Like that's pretty solid. But more interestingly, attack, draw a unit. If it's a dragon, summon it attacking, and that is so sick. I haven't produced the video yet, but one of the decks that I played when I was making my journey to Diamond this season was a mono Demacia dragon deck, where essentially I just ran the 2 Targon cards, the Herald and the Spell, right, for the dragons, and then the entire rest of the deck was just Demacia dragons. And this is basically the only thing that deck was missing. Like, because that deck honestly does decently into the meta, and it like, you know, because it's a Demacia deck. It runs a rally and a bunch of strike cards and all that crap, right? But it was like, I'd always get to like the mid to end game, and either my dragons would be too big for my opponent to deal with and I'd win, or I'd be at the point where like I'm kind of running out of steam because I have no real way to heal my dragons, which, by the way, is why I think that the Tentacle deck is going to have so much of a problem, because I think it's a very similar thing where dragons attack and they have fury and they get like their stat buff after the attack. I think tentacles are very similar, where like, sure, spawning, like you don't have to attack with it, you don't have to defend with it, but like obviously then you're not getting the damage off. But you don't have a way to heal that, so like you just need to keep buffing it, and eventually like your tentacle will die or it'll run out of steam, right? Like you'll run out of stuff in the deck to support it. Which is why, like, you know, I that's kind of where I draw my comparison there for why I think like the Tentacle deck is going to be a little bit harder to pilot. But I also think that like that's why it's gonna be good with Udyr, because you know you can give like the tentacle regeneration and then you're golden. You know what I mean? But yeah, this card is really cool. I'm looking forward to just like specking this in to that dragon deck that I made and just kind of running it. Because this just does everything that that deck is missing. I don't know if it's a 3 of necessarily. Maybe it's a 2 of, because like 8 mana is a bit hefty. But I'm definitely like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm running 2 or 3 of the Brood Mothers, and I'm definitely like gonna probably like do a 2 and 2 kind of a thing with them. Because you know you have the Brood Mother and the Brood Father, and it's a pretty good deck. There's also the vague possibility of like if you get like you run this with like P and Z, and like the card that like adds more of it to your deck or whatever, right? And if this somehow, right, you run, you're in Demacia, so you can run like Remembrance and like other cards that just, or the Vanguard card, like the Dauntless Vanguard card, and you can just run cards that spawn units, and then have like the P and Z cards that like copy units, and then have this be the only unit in your deck. And when you attack with the first one of these that you play, it'll just spawn another, and then spawn another, and then spawn another, and that's going to be really funny. I definitely also want to do that. So that's something that I'll probably mess around with a little as well. It's probably not going to be good, though. Because, you know, stuff like that never is. But we'll see. Next up, we've got Dish, which comes from the Stagehand. Stagehand is one of those Jin cards. It's an ephemeral 4/4, which is a pretty solid stat line. Like, let's be real. Sure, it's ephemeral, which is why it can get such a good stat line, but on play, it stuns an enemy, which is like, wow. Whew, we really needed that Yasuo support, right? So the thing about this card, I think, is like, as a defensive card, you play it and it's just gonna die, right? Because it stuns an enemy, and then it's an ephemeral 4/4. So if your opponent just passes, it fades away. So weirdly enough, it's a stun card that I think is better played like on attack, and that's kind of interesting because I feel like there's a lot less of those. A lot of like stuns are pretty defensive in nature. This is a pretty solid like offensive stun card. So I definitely see where they're going with that. The Winding Light. So this is the last Aphelios card. They finally printed it, right? Because if you open the card out here, you can see like Infernum is down here. And this is the last like Lunar Beast that blesses Aphelios' weapons with their power or whatever. So just like how Infernum has Overwhelm, this thing has Overwhelm. But it's Nightfall, give other allies +2/+1, and Overwhelm this round. Which, that's insane. Like, that is ridiculous. This thing is 7 mana, so it's the same as the Nightfall Dragon card, right? But it's actually playable in Nightfall. And, like, this is just a solid finisher. You play the Dusk Petal Dust. Like, it's a 6 mana card, and it's like, it's a way better finisher than Cygnus ever could hope to be. You know, that guy who grants, who on Nightfall grants himself and another ally elusive. Yeah, that guy, he's been replaced. Because this card is insane. Like, Nightfall is gonna be good again. And And I look forward to it, honestly. It's a cool card. So yeah, Nightfall finisher, based on Aphelios. Pretty cool. That's all I really got for it, though. Next up, we have Chamber of Renewal, which is the landmark that they printed for Shurima, which says, when you summon a champion, destroy me, grant it 2/2/1, and Spell Shield. Riot, why do you insist on making Shurima the best region all of a sudden? Why do they need this? What did we do to deserve this? They already have the 2-mana thing that gives them Spell Shield. They already have the Lucky Finds. Hell, Sivir and Nasus already have Spell Shield. Why? Not only that, but this is a landmark that grants champions Spell Shield. You just nerfed Mono Shurima. What is this? Why? That's my opinion on this card. It's gonna be strong. Obviously, it has the landmark problem where if you're paying 3 mana for this, you're not paying 3 mana for a unit, and it doesn't have like the immediate value. But like, look at that card text, man. You play this on 3, Xerath on 4, you win the game. Right? Like, because now you just have a 6/6 Xerath with Spell Shield, who also just shot somebody and leveled up, right? Like, huh? I don't know. Like, this card's insane. Like, honestly, it's really weird to say. I don't think it'll change much about Shurima right now. Because, like, Shurima right now is just kind of strong in general. Which, actually, I do think, you know, I say why in there, but I'm pretty sure it's because of the Void event. Shurima's going to be the main region for the Void event, so they're trying to promote Shurima. Just saying. Yeah. So that's definitely going to be an interesting card to play against. Man, Shurima. Next, we have Revena, the Lore Keeper. So remember that deck buff card I was talking about? Or the deck that I was talking about building? Yeah, baby. When I'm summoned, grant units in your deck my stats. Then draw a unit with 5+ power. That's a good card. Like, even if you're, like, okay, like, if you're raw playing it, 6 mana for a 2/2, that feels like ass, right? But you're still giving your entire deck +2/+2 and drawing a card. Like, obviously you don't want to raw play this. But even if you do, I think it's pretty good. Like, the thing is obviously this is like one of those cards where it's like, if the meta doesn't change, right, and we're still playing against Pirate Aggro and Yordles in Arms and fucking Hyper Faded and like, you know, all this garbage, right? Like, yeah, you're never gonna get this card off. Like, let's be real. It's just not gonna happen. But if the meta slows down a little bit, you know, maybe makes mid-game, mid-range, like, combo decks a little bit more viable, this is a good card. And like I said, I'm playing a hand/deck buff deck. And this is essentially the card that I was missing. Because, like, my problem in that deck was I just didn't have enough I would run out of draws. I would like not have like enough things to like push like the end of the game, and I just get like chump blocked all the time. Yeah, and I think this helps a lot for sure. Also, think about like running this card with like Yetis or Elnooks or something. Like that's hilarious. It's gonna be a good card. Captive Greyback. Attack. I deal 3 damage to my blocker. If it's dead or gone, I deal 3 damage to the enemy nexus instead. It's a really weak Talia. That's it. It's really weak Talia. It's also it's a reputation card that doesn't give you reputation. Like it's a 4-mana 2/3. It's pretty garbo. Like it has the potential. Like if you buff it, it'll be pretty okay, right? Because it'll have overwhelm. It deals 3 damage, so like anything that like tries to block it with like 3 health will just die, and then it has overwhelm, goes through. But like, let's be real, they could have printed this card as a 4-mana 5/3 with overwhelm, and it would have been the same. It's like we already have 4-mana 5/3s in the game. I'm pretty sure the one that currently exists is a Shurima card, and it gives you a Lucky Find. Your Lucky Find gives you Overwhelm. Guess what? They're the same card. So, again, like if you have buffs for this thing, it has the potential to like be a little bit better than just like a reputation card, right? Because you know, like say you buff this with a sharp sight, right? 3/5, so it'll survive the hit. It deals 3 damage on attack, so they have a blocker that has 5 health, right? Like say they're blocking with a naked lady, right? 4/5. This kills the naked lady and does 1 damage to face. Lives the exchange with 1 HP. It's not bad. So like it certainly will probably have like some uses, but I don't think it's a good card. Like it's almost certainly not a good card. Storm of Blades. Yay! Blade Dance support. Fun. 5 mana for the rest of the game. When you Blade Dance, summon another. And Blade Dance 1, which essentially reads Blade Dance 2 because it summons another, you know, blah, 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 blah. The thing about this card is, first off, war flashbacks. However, secondly here, it's probably not that good. Like, the weird thing about Blade Dance is there are like 2 ways that you can kind of play Blade Dance. Those 2 ways are Azir and Misfortune. And with both of those in mind, the blades aren't really what gets you the win, right? Because, like, you know, with Azir, it's actually the repeated spawning of the sand soldiers that wins you the game. And then eventually, like, when Azir gets buffed, he buffs the attack, and then, like, then things are actually a threat, right? And when you, like... So, like, this is kind of nice, because, like, you get the extra attackers, you get the extra summon for, like, those level up conditions. But, like, it's 5 mana. And let's be real. Would you want to play a 5 mana slow spell that Blade dances to? Do you want to play the 5 mana 4/3 that Blade dances to? You know, it's like, I don't know. I could see it being run as like a one of in Blade Dance decks, but I think realistically it's just not good enough. It just isn't. So weirdly enough, I don't think it's going to see that much play. Mega Tusk. This is the part where I edit in the... Yes! Yes! Because steep support. A steep support. It's a 4-mana deep card. It heals you when you go deep. And you get to heal your board. You get to heal your face. You like it's everything I ever wanted, really. The only thing it's missing is because it's literally what we wanted Maokai's spell to be, except it's a sea monster. So it's gonna be a 6/7 when you go deep and heal that 3, right? So like, yeah, I'm very happy with this card, and I can't wait to play some deep. Yeah, you know what? We are missing some of the revealed cards, aren't we? Because I don't see... Oh, nope, never mind. It's down there. I'm a liar. Wow, I have a lot to go through. I expected this to be a little bit faster of a video. I'm already, like, at, like, an hour, though. I mean, I'll probably edit out, like, the times that I'm, like, sitting here drinking or dawdling or whatever, but, you know, just trim it down a little bit. But, like, that's... I've been going for a little bit longer than I expected to be. I'm gonna be real. Oh well, we're about half done, I think. Sputtering Song Spinner. Pick one of 2 new 2-cost... They said in the reveal stream that this is a misprint. It's not 2-cost cards, it's 2-cost spells, specifically. To create in hand and set its cost to 0 this round. Repeat it twice. So for 7 mana, you're getting 3 random 2-cost spells. Which... Like... It's card generation. If you need card generation, if you're looking for like, it's probably pretty okay if you're playing like Jace, right? Because then you can play you can maybe generate like Mystic Shot to like win the game. And Jace makes it go off twice. So you just sit there and generate 6 fucking 2-cost spells, and you just have a handful of like 0-cost garbage you can just sit there and spam. So like, this is actually, weirdly enough, I think it's Jace Lux support, which is weird because I don't think Jace Lux needed support. But also the cards that it gives you are random, right? Because it's pick 1 out of 2 for each of those times you pick, right? So like, and you're getting 6 mana of value for 7 mana. So like, it has the effect of like, it could generate you the Mystic Shot and win you the game, but it could also generate you garbage, and then you lose. So, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I think it's probably pretty okay if you're running it with Jace, but it's probably not great. Lord Broadmane. Play. Deal 2 to an enemy. Your fast spells, slow spells, and skills have when I damage a stunned or damaged enemy, kill it. Now, if its stats weren't so garbage for 6 mana, I would be very upset by this card. Because Swain and Katarina exist. Right? And that sounds awful to play against. It really does. But it's 6 mana. It's a 2/4, so it'll probably be decently easy to remove. And like, it's honestly a really fitting effect for Noxus, right? Because there's also that other 6 mana Minotaur, which, by the way, is another 6 mana Minotaur. It's like the 4th one in the game. But there's that other 6 mana Minotaur that's like, stun all damaged enemies, right? So like, you know, like, you've got like a Yasuo on board, and you know, he damages those enemies. Hey, they're dead, right? So like, it's certainly an interesting card, but I also don't actually think it's that good. Because, well, none of those 6-mana Minotaurs have actually ended up being very good. They have, like, decently powerful effects, but, like, 6 mana is just, like, it's hard to play them for that cost, you know what I mean? So, like, weirdly enough, like, this guy, I think, has, like, the exact same problem as all the other 6-mana Minotaurs, where it's, like, 6 mana, like, it's a really powerful effect, and if you can make use of it, it'd be really cool, but also, it's 6 mana, man. For 6 mana, I'd rather play something that's about to win me the game, or like, you know, like, save that 6 mana for a Vengeance, or, you know, like, if we're talking, like, champions, like, I'm trying to play, like, Nasus or something on turn 6, like, you're playing a 2/4 for 6 mana? It's a little bit rough. So yeah, I definitely think it fits with the whole Noxus theme, but I think it's going to be hard to use well, I think. Speaking of hard to use well, Hunting Boar. Can't block. Last breath, get a mana gem. Empty. That's interesting. That's very interesting. It's a ramp card, which is cool, but it's a 2/1 for 3 mana, so it's not that great, but it ramps. And I think that's actually kind of scary, because they've, like, been slowly adding more and more ramp cards to the game. And this one, like, as much as, like, everybody knows, like, the current, like, Trundle ramp stuff, back in my day, back in the beta builds of the game, we had 2 very significant ramp decks, and both of them featured a specific champion, and that champion was Anivia. And I think if you run this, right, it's 3 mana, nobody's going to want to kill it, right? It can't block, so obviously you're not playing it on defense. But you play it on attack, right? Like, or you play it on defense after your opponent's attacked, or whatever. Turn 4, you attack with this thing. Nobody's going to block it. But that's the point, right? Because on turn 4, in Freljord, right, same region, there's the 4-mana card, Plunder, get a mana gem. And then if you're running, like, a Catalyst on top of that, that's like 3 mana gems you're sitting on. If you're running Shadow Isles, you can glimpse this guy to get the mana gem any given time you want. Like, this is a scary card. Like, it doesn't seem like it, but this is a scary card. Because this brings back Shadow Isles' Anivia. You can also run, like, Gluttony with this thing, right? And then, like, run, like, Crocolith. And you Gluttony this, you get a mana gem, you summon your Crocolith, and then you're sitting on, like, 5 mana next turn, right? And you can do whatever you want with that. Actually, I was gonna say, like, if you play this on 3, swing, on 4, you Gluttony it, get the Crocolith out, you get the empty mana gem, you like, you know, you fulfill that Plunder thing. Now you're sitting on 7 mana on turn 5, right? Like, that's kind of insane. Or 8 mana on turn 5. Whatever. My math is bad, but my point is like, I think this is scarier than a lot of people think it is. And I do not look forward to the return of Anivia Karma and Anivia Shadow Isles with Gluttony. Like, this is very scary. Another card that a lot of people, I think, are underrating, Harrowing Return. It's slow. Revive an ephemeral copy of the strongest dead allied follower and give enemies -1 attack this round. The reason I think this is kind of scary, because, like, you read the first part and it's just like, oh, well, that's just Kalista's effect. Kalista's a 3-mana card. Doesn't seem that good. But the reason I think that this is scary is because remember how they changed Nocturne and everybody and people went, yo, you can run Nocturne with Harrowing now? Hey, guess what? The Harrowing wasn't the card that was for that. This was. I think this is an easy, you put 2 of this in Nightfall, and it's a solid way to get your Nocturne going. I think that this card makes Nocturne Nightfall as opposed to Aphelios Diana Nightfall, which is like what's pretty popular right now. I think this card is a good way to bring Nocturne Nightfall back. Add together, we got the other Nightfall finisher. I'm just saying, like, I think this card is underrated. I am very well prepared. Like, if you have a leveled up Nocturne on board, you know, like you played him like on like turn 4, after your opponent's attack, and turn 5, you play this, and what's your opponent gonna do? Their entire board just got -2 attack, right? And your entire board is fearsome. Like, I think that's pretty solid. If you're reviving the fearsome spider, which I don't, that's the Shadow Isles. Is that Shadow Isles or Noxus? I don't remember. But let's pretend it's Shadow Isles, right? You have the spider that also lowers the attack, and that's what this revives. They lost 3 attack. Your opponent's board just lost 3 whole attack. And you could just swing. Your entire board's fearsome. I think this card is scary. I think this card, people are, I think it's very underrated. This everyone already knows. This is crazy. 5 mana, Blood in the Water, deal 1 to anything, rally, Bilgewater. Like, Bilgewater didn't need a rally, okay? Like, Pirates were already aggro enough. Like, I know it's supposed to be for Lurk, and like it's a way to have a Lurk attack on your opponent's attack token that isn't Snapjaw Swarm, which I welcome. I'm also a Lurk player. Lurk is fun, and this is going in my Lurk decks. But man, I really don't think Bilgewater needed a rally. This is really scary. It also deals damage, so like you can ping face. It's only deal 1, so it's not that great. But like, you know, remember Swain Bilgewater with the ping cards, and then like you'd put Swain that like you deal all the damage to face, and then Swain would come down, and he'd like stun units and then hit face and everything. Like, it's back, right? Like, because you can ping, like you have a leveled up Swain on board. This pings face, stuns a unit, rallies, and now Swain can hit face. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. This is definitely a scary card, for sure. Definitely scary. Definitely scary. Legion Deserter. I gain all allied everywhere buffs. This is a cool card. I don't know how good it's gonna be, because like I'm just thinking like everywhere buffs. I mean, you can run him with Viego, but why would you want Noxus Viego? I mean, I guess you could give him like Overwhelm and use him as like a finisher, but like Noxus doesn't really have like the protection for that. There's like I don't know. There's a whole ton of like everywhere buff cards. And I think having a card that like works with those and takes those, and like he innately has Overwhelm, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Obviously the main application of it is going to be Legion Marauders, because he's essentially a 5 mana Legion Marauder with Overwhelm, right? Because Legion Marauder is a 3 mana 3/2. He's a 5 mana 5/4. Right? It's basically the same stat line. And then Legion Marauder attack, grant Legion Marauders everywhere. So by nature of him getting the everywhere buffs, he's a Legion Marauder. But he's a deserter because he can then go anywhere and take anyone's everywhere buffs, which I think is pretty cool. Definitely a cool card. And I'm probably not going to immediately jump on building a deck with him, but I do look forward to decks that will be built with him. And then we have the man, the myth, the legend, Jin, who's a 4 mana 4/4, even when leveled up. Which actually this. Okay, his level up's all the way over there. But yeah, so Origin, that's like the Runeterra champ thing. Attack. Deal 2 to all stunned enemies. Hello, Yasuo support. It's Yasuo's when you stun an enemy, deal 2 to it, right? So yeah, level up, you played 12 plus fast, slow spells or skills, which is like his deck building type. Like if you like, I don't know where it is, but if you read like the Virtuoso, like that's a hoverable thing. It's like, it's how you put Jin in your deck essentially, and basically it says that like Jin can only be built with fast spells, slow spells, or skills, or units with skills, right? And like that's really interesting. But then it also, I think, says that like all of like every fourth one of those things that you play stuns an enemy or something like that, which is neat. So then his champ spell, which is, I guess we're doing that before the level 2. His champ spell is deal 1 to a unit, create a second bounce in hand at the next round's start. Second bounce is 0 mana, deal 4. So you're essentially playing, it's 4 mana, deal 5 damage. But it's split up into 2 spells in order to more like easily proc Jin's level up, which is kind of interesting. And this is definitely like weird to play around, right? Because if he pings like one of your units for 1, then you know next turn that he's going to deal 4 to something. And it's like now you have to play around the fact that he has a 0 mana deal 4 card in hand. So that's definitely interesting. So this is a skill. Deal 1 to the enemy nexus. If Jin is in place, stun the weakest enemy. So I think that's part of the origin, right? I think, like, because that's, yeah, this is the origin, right? So if Jin started in your deck, for every, 3 blah, 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 you play a Lotus Trap. Every 3? Or I guess the Lotus Trap is the 4th one, right? Or something like that. So yeah, the Lotus Trap, I think so it's the 4th thing. I think. Not, because Jin's about the number 4, so it's every 4th thing. I don't know, like this says every 3 though, which is very strange. But yeah, every like 3 of those that like goes off, you'll also deal like 1 to the enemy nexus and stun the weakest enemy, which is really cool. Because like then like if you're playing against it, you have to like look out and like, like kind of count how Jin is doing. Like if it's 1, 2, 3, and then like the third one comes with this, which is the 4, where it stuns an enemy and deals 1 to your face, and like that's really cool. I'm not gonna lie. Then leveled up Jin. He's still a 4 mana 4/4 quick attack now though. Did he have quick attack before? No. So he gains quick attack. Deal 4 to all stunned enemies in the enemy nexus, as opposed to 2, which is the normal one, right? Becomes deal 4. Which and now hits nexus, which is like, yeah, why not? We've been looking for another champion to run with Yasuo, and like we found it. You know, we've got board stuns, but we don't have Yasuo. It's okay if we have Jhin. He's dealing 4 to all of them, right? If it like, and even if like you're just using attack, like he deals 4 to the enemy nexus, like on attack. That's just like, yeah, like that's sick. I think Jin's gonna be a really cool champion, for sure. I honestly can't wait to play him. I'm very excited. Oh, I don't think I saw this one. Gruesome Theater. Recall a unit with 3 or less health. So it's like the counterpart to the other recall card, which is like recall a unit with 3 or less power, which is, again, when they came out with the Maker, like her skill is a recall a unit with less than my attack. So this is kind of like this spell that like is the counterpart to that. This is health instead of attack. It's a cool card. Because whereas I feel like attack was a little bit hard to get off, I feel like, well, no, I was gonna say I feel like you know, the attack was hard to get off because of like unit buffs and stuff. So you'd normally end up using it on your own units. I feel like this is kind of like in a similar place where like you're gonna use this on your own units when like they're playing like Ezreal and they're pinging your units. It's like, you want to hit my 2 health unit with your get excited? Haha, nope, I'm recalling it, right? I definitely think like it's gonna have more use like that than it is going to like, yeah, I'm gonna recall your guy, but it's definitely a cool card. And considering I didn't know that they printed it, I'm glad they did. We've got Wharf Rat. I have +1 for each round that you've damaged the enemy nexus. This card's trash. Yeah, it's 2 mana, but like, let's be real, it's says 0/3. Like even if like you're on round 3, right? You've damaged the enemy nexus, say twice, because you're running like Sejuani Gangplanks, and that's your entire goal, right? You play this thing, it's a 2/3 for 3 mana. Like, it's just not good. Like, there's like maybe some worlds where like, yeah, you could, your leveled up Gangplank gets killed, but you have one of these guys. He's got Overwhelm, so you're already at like 6, and then it's like, ooh, I'm playing a 2 mana 6/3 because you killed my Gangplank. But like, it's probably not a good card. I just do like that it is a Wharf Rat, which have been a beast that has been canon since like the event in League of Legends when they killed Gangplank. I like that we're finally getting a card for that. So, yeah, Wharf Rats. Inspiring Light. Grant allies +1/+1. This card is dog shit. It's nice that it affects the entire board, but like, this card's dog shit. Just for basically the same reason. Like, there's a 1 mana Demacia card that's grant 1 ally +1/+1, right? It's like, that card's also dog shit. This is the same card, except it affects the entire board. They did the same thing that they did with Tough, except this one costs 1 more mana. So, like, yeah. You're gonna see it get played. Like, it's sort of a nerf to Conchologist with Demacia. And it's sort of a nerf to that new card that they just printed with P&Z that generates you 2-cost cards. Like, it's sort of a nerf to that because, like, it's another card that's not great that's in that pool, but it's not a good card. It's not. So, I mean, there are situations where it could work though. Like, frankly, it's a board buff for 2 mana. Maybe it's he's playing elites. Maybe. Probably not. Might play that when you could just play Banner, man. It's 2 less mana. Yeah, but the other one's a 3/3 body. It can't be denied. Or nopified. You know, bad card. Undergrowth. So remember when I was excited for deep support? Hey, I'm still excited for deep support. Toss 3, drain 2 from a unit. I mean, what more is there to say? I'm happy about the deep support. Like, it's a heal, again, something that deep is needed for a while, and it tosses, which, hey, helps you get there. So, like, I'm definitely gonna probably make room for it. It's gonna be a little tough to make room for it, because, like, now you know, we're throwing in the Tusk guy, and, like, deep decks were already, like, relatively self-contained. So, like, finding room for a 3-mana spell is a little bit rough. But if it's a 3-mana spell that helps you this much, like, this is for sure at least a 2 of. Because, like, it's also targeted removal, and before this card, the only real targeted removal that Deep had was the 6-mana Obliterate thing, or Vile Feast. Or I guess Maokai Saplings, if you count that, but that only works on attack, right? And, like, if they have an Overwhelm unit, then, like, that doesn't help you at all, you know? So, definitely, like, just going in the deck. I'm not sure where. But it's definitely going in the deck. And I'm excited. I can't wait to actually play, like, deep again and not just be inting my LP away. Even though it is the deck that got me to Diamond anyway. Just because I know the matchups, like, in and out. I do love me some deep. Sands of Time. Burst, 6 mana. Give enemies -2 attack this round. Create an instant sentry. This is interesting. Because this is the first card that gives instant sentry outside of the clock hand. Even though I believe that is the clock hand on the card. But give enemies -2. Like, that's a really strong control effect. Like, the only cards that they've printed with this effect before are, like, level 3 Nasus. Actually, he's -3. Or Spirit Fire, which is a 7-mana card that deals damage afterwards. This is a really good control card. Like, I think you actually run this in, like, Thralls. Because, like, that's solid, man. -2 attack on all enemies? It's pretty nice. And it's 1 less mana than the other card that did that. Like, I think it's a surprisingly powerful effect. There are a lot of people who are, like, discounting this, like, and saying, like, it's not going to be that good, but, like, you know, I think it's pretty decent. It's also a 6-mana card, so you could do, like, memes with Lux decks, like Lux Shurima. That one's off the dome. I don't think that's going to be that good. But even still, like, it's just a good control card. And I think with, like, landmark control decks like Thralls or possibly, like, some form of, like, Zillion or something like that, I think it's going to be pretty solid. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be in Sundisk because people have basically figured out how to make Sundisk a very early deck where it used to be, like if we were talking Sundisk before the, like, Azir and Zereth changes, this card could easily go in it. But But now that the Azir and Seraph changes are like, you know, the meta for Sun Disc decks, I don't think this is gonna see play in those. But yeah, definitely an interesting card. I think it's gonna be really good in Thralls, because like, you know, it's just more control for that deck plus an instant sentry. Like that's a Thrall like that, you know. I think it's a good card. Discreet Invitation. 2 mana. First, create a fleeting shady character or Chempunk Shredder in hand and reduce its cost by 1. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Shady Character is the 4-mana card that copies a unit's stats, and Chempunk Shredder is like the 5 mana 5/2 that deals 1. So it ends up being 4 mana and 3 mana. This card's bad, man. And again, like, this ends up being like one of those, like, they printed some bad 2-cost cards to like stealth nerfed Conchologist and that other 7-cost card that they're printing. Which, like, yeah, I guess, sure, why not? But this card's trash. This card is trash. Also, I don't really get, like, the association of these cards at all, either. Like, I guess that they're both kind of like Zaunite, I guess, but, like, they have nothing to do with each other. It's just very confusing. Weird card. But anyway, the last one is Consult the Heavens. Fully heal an ally, then grow its power equal to its health. This would be a fantastic card in a lot of Soraka decks. But it's 6 mana. And like, that's the downfall right there. It's 6 mana. Like, trust me, I've played Soraka decks, and like I've played like Redoubled Valor with Soraka Galio, and like this is good, but like that also doubles the power and health. This is just grow its power equal to its health. So while it's like it's good because like you fully heal Soraka, and all of a sudden she like, you know, if you've played the 4-mana card that grants her 4 health, right? You have an 11/11 Soraka, and that's ridiculous, right? Like that's really good. But man, it's 6 mana. Like, generally speaking, Soraka decks, like, just because of like the way that they function, like you have to sit there and like protect your units. Like, it's so hard to like be like to have the mana to do that. Like, that was part of the reason why Soraka Galio was so strong, because they introduced like the 3-cost Demacia card that gives extra health, and like with that plus like the other cards in like Demacia that gave like health and the like regeneration stuff, like it made it like easier to play with that mana. 6 mana for a card like this is so much, though. Like, it's so hard to get this off. Like, if you do get this off, like, it's like the payoff is sick, because like, you know, like you have the Broadback Protector, you have Soraka. Like, the nice part is like this card's in Targon, right? So where like I mentioned, like Redoubled Valor was like okay in the Soraka Galio deck, but this one's in Targon, so like I can go back to playing like Soraka Braum or Soraka Tom Kench, and that's really good because like that's really good, right? But I don't think like finding a way to be able to play this card for 6 mana is gonna be difficult, I think. Wow, I really am a meme deck player, huh? I just look through all these cards and I'm like, oh man, I love Deep. Oh man, I love Lurk. Oh man, I love Soraka decks. Look at me go. Uh, no wonder I'm Diamond. But yeah, like I think this is a really cool card that they printed for this, but I think it's gonna be hard to get off. However, it does have the advantage of being burst. So you can use it to counteract like stuff your opponent is doing to try and kill your units. And in that case, like that's pretty solid. And I do look forward to with this plus I think there was another card that they printed for Targon or Freljord, one of them somewhere up here. I don't think it was that. Alright, maybe I'm hallucinating. I thought there was another card that was basically like Soraka Braum support sprinkled in there. Which, by the way, fully heal Braum, and then give him, like, Braum power. Yeah, so, like, I definitely look forward to making a deck with that card as well. But I don't think it's going to be that good. But that's all of them. That's all the reveals we have right now. This video's like already an hour and a half long. I wanna close it up because it's supposed to be a short one. I'm just gonna, go into my editing program, throw this together, and hopefully get this out by 5 o'clock. Hopefully. But that's all I got. On stream tonight, I don't even know if I'm gonna stream tonight. I was gonna say I'm not gonna be playing Legends because right now feeling like playing Legends feels bad. I don't like the meta. I don't like the changes they made this patch right before seasonals. I think that was like, and it was full of bugs. It was like, I don't know what they were thinking when they shipped that patch. Honestly, I really don't. Why couldn't it have just waited until like this part of the reveals? Like you could have shipped it together with all this crap. I don't know. Because like then you would at least have the excuse of like why everything was so bugged out. It's because like it came out with all of this other crap that we were also doing. It's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I get that. There's like a lot of stuff going on, but like the way it shipped, man, I can't say that I'm a fan. And right now, like the meta in the game sucks. Every game, I'm just getting like shit on by Ezreal or Faded or Viego. Or that one, or I'm getting aggroed down by Talia or Pirates, and it's just kind of like, it's just not fun. I don't know. Weirdly enough, I liked the meta better when it was mono Shurima and the things that countered it, right? I had more fun with the game when that was the meta than with this crap. So, and it's also like reveal season. So there's all this stuff that's coming out that makes me want to play with the cards that are being revealed, but they're not in the game yet. And it just makes me sit here and go, damn, I really wish I had that card that goes in deep that would have won me the game in that particular situation, right? So, yeah, not playing Legends tonight because I just don't want to. I don't know if I'm going to stream something else. I probably won't. I'm probably going to take, like, some Tuesdays off, like, until this set comes out. And then I'll be streaming it, Like, like I said, there are decks I want to make. There are things I want to do. So, like, when this comes out, yeah, I'll be streaming it. But tonight, I think I'm taking the night off. So, that's it for this video, though. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you wanna subscribble for me, that would make me happy because my Legends of Runeterra videos don't get as much traction as my other ones. My shorts that are popping off all the time. So it's much appreciated if you subscribe, and leave me comments based on like differing opinions. I'm a diamond player, so I could be wrong about some of these cards. What do you think? Tell me. Let me know. Do some interaction. It'll be great. Yeah. That's all I got. I'm just gonna, like I said, I want to edit out like a couple of parts where like I coughed or I was drinking water or whatever. But I'm gonna try to get this up by 5 o'clock. So, yeah, good luck, have fun in all your games, and until next time, Gooby.